to thank each one of you for joining us here today in this special time together as we remember and celebrate the life of Michael Taylor. Whether he touched your life personally or perhaps you're here as a friend of the family, your presence here and your support for his family certainly honors his memory. During these next several minutes, we will stop all of our other activities for a while and spend some time reflecting on the life of a man who has passed through our lives. This time is a special moment where we can let tears flow and let laughter heal, where we can share stories and begin the journey of turning those stories into memories. When we're done here today, and as we move away from this time together, we will leave this place taking a portion of Mike's life with us in our hearts and in our memories. My name is Gord Clausen, and I'm just honored to be part of this service today. And thank you, family, for taking time with me and telling me a little bit more about Mike and your family. And I do want to commend you as well for planning this special time and the thoughtful planning you put into this service today to honor his life. And today, with those of you here in this room, I know that there are many of you, family and friends, watching via live stream. And so I want to thank you as well for joining us. It's meaningful to have you with us as well. And no matter where we are today, how far apart we may be physically, we join our hearts together in this moment to honor Mike's life. We gather today to remember the little things that formed a special place in our hearts, to remember those happy times when we laughed and those times when our hearts broke as one. We reflect and we gather our memories up in a safe place so that our loved one whom we have lost will always be with us. It's an important step on that long journey of grief that we walk through at this time. We also gather to share the pain, especially with you as family. We come to share the pain with you, to hurt when you hurt, without presuming at all that our pain is the same as yours and that we totally understand what you're going through. But we come to cry when you cry, and not to try to hide or avoid our tears today, for tears are said to be memories in motion. We also gather to give the gift of grief, to stand beside you in silence and not be uncomfortable with your tears, to allow you the gift of grieving this loss, for grief is nature's way of healing a broken heart. Today we join our hearts together to support each other, especially the family, and we are here to demonstrate that we are indeed with you during this difficult time, and will be your ears for those stories to be told and your shoulders for those tears to fall upon. And in fact, the family has asked me as we begin to just thank you, their friends, for so many of you have already provided such incredible support and encouragement over these past few days as you've called and you've texted with your words of tribute and comfort, and that's just meant a whole lot to the family at this time. And I want to encourage you as their friends to continue to reach out to them and care for them in the coming days as they walk through this season of grief. Someone has written that grief never ends, but it changes. It is a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. And so this afternoon, we pause to catch our breath, to focus on the memories of what was. And while we gather in sadness over how different our lives will be without him, we are also so thankful for how full life was when Michael was with us. Every life is a journey, and it's important that we help to make that journey end well. And today we do gather to ensure that Mike's journey on this earth ends well. Each one of you who are part of his life were also part of that journey. And so this afternoon, while we take time to recognize the significance of his life, we also recognize the significance of this event for each one of you. And so I hope that this service will honor his memory and that it will also bring some comfort and encouragement to each one of you as family and friends. It would be impossible to capture all of who Mike was in our time together today, but his mom, Pat, has compiled a few highlights for us, and I would like to read them to you at this time. This is what she has written. We come together today to celebrate the life of Michael Taylor, who was taken from us on November 29, 2022. Though his life was cut way too short, he lived a lifetime. Michael was born in Vancouver on February 20th, 1976 at 7 a.m. to his parents, Tim and Pat Taylor. Michael was a son, a brother, a husband, a father, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin, and a great friend to many. He spent his first 9 years in Williams Lake, and then we moved to Fort St. John for a year and then returned to Vancouver for the next 8 years. We moved back to Fort St. John in 1994 and remained here from that year on. He had a love for the outdoors since he was a toddler and enjoyed many fishing trips and hunting trips with his dad, Tim, his Uncle Ken, and many other friends as well. Michael was always independent. He had no patience for not going forward with anything. He walked early. He refused to be fed by anyone as he wanted to do it himself. He didn't want training wheels on his bike, and he was always wanting a challenge in his life. He was a hard one to keep up with and was strong-willed and strong-minded. You may notice that I refer to him, this is Pat speaking, that I refer to him as Michael. This is habit because when he was young, from the time he could talk until later in life, you were corrected by him if you called him anything else. This obviously was let go as he got older. Michael had a great sense of humor and the best laugh, like his dad. He was a big prankster and enjoyed picking on his mother the most. He loved to tease his sisters and trick them into believing whatever he told them, but at the same time, very protective of them. He has 2 incredible children, Thomas, his firstborn, and Emma, his princess. He was so proud of them and loved his kids so much, and they loved him. I am positive that they will continue in life to make him proud as they flourish into adulthood. Michael also had 2 stepsons, Rylan and Aiden, who he spent a lot of time with. These are Darcy's sons, and along with Michael's children, they created a good family unit. He has identical twin sisters, Christine and Carrie. They would follow him around no matter what. He was their friend, along with being his sisters. He was their protector and their best friend for years while growing up. He finally made the leap to marriage when he met Darcy. We all believed he would never tie that knot, so we were surprised, happily so, that he finally made that leap. Marrying Darcy extended our family, and he would be so happy that we will remain family. Like his dad, Michael loved to be away from the hustle and bustle of the city. He loved being in a quiet, peaceful setting, which led him and his wife Darcy to move out of town onto an acreage to enjoy a simpler life, sort of. He still worked way too hard. He had a love for animals, especially dogs. He liked cats from afar. He and Darcy had a wide variety of pets, including 3 miniature donkeys, turkeys, and chickens, along with a farm cat and 5 beautiful dogs. Michael was a hard worker. He was constantly on the phone or on his computer with calls and emails. He was well respected by the people who worked with him. He started in the oil field at the age of 18 with his Uncle Brian, who taught him the ropes. And he took that knowledge and created the most flourishing career. He has worked for many oil companies and has had the positions of an operator right up to a production manager. He held a great deal of knowledge in his head and was a valuable employee. If you needed him, he was there. Very rarely he wasn't happy and playing jokes on people. He would always speak his mind, and if you didn't want to hear it, that was too bad for you, because he would tell you regardless. But he never held grudges, nor did he stay angry for long periods of time. If you were a part of Michael's life, you were forever in his life. Once he made a friend or connection, he kept you in his life. Michael had a few friends through the years that had lost their lives, and he would still talk about them and remember them in fondness. He enjoyed telling stories about friends, work, hunting, fishing trips, and vacations. Many people knew him, enjoyed having him around, and loved him. He was always easy to be around. He was fun, loving, and always enjoyed people in his life. I am sure we all have a story or two to share, so many it would take hours to tell all the stories here. Hopefully you will all have a chance to share your memories of Michael with all who came today to celebrate his incredible life. Michael was taken way too soon from us all. He will be missed and always loved. May his journey back to the sky be peaceful, and may we be lucky enough to have him watch over us all. Until we meet him again, we will keep him close to our hearts and in our memories. It's wonderful. Thank you, Pat, for sharing those memories and those words of tribute with us. Indeed, you were all blessed to have him in your lives. At this time, I'm going to ask George if you'll come up and share a few memories or thoughts about Michael.
Hello, I'm George. I was Mike's lead at Wild Boy. And then, well, I was the reason he got hired at Wild Boy again. We went from just co-workers, and then he took over superintendent, and then I worked for Mike. We went into a mentor relationship for a couple months. And then all of a sudden we started talking 10, 12 hours a day. Darcy can attest to that. And I got to know Mike, not Mike Taylor, superintendent, Mike Taylor, my friend, and your friend, I hope. I hope you got to meet Mike. So I think from what I know about Mike, because he could be a bear, we all met that guy too, I hope. I hope you got to see him like that once or twice. And he could be the sweetest man who you'd look over and you'd go, "Are you crying at that song?" And he would be, yeah. And you'd be like, "You're such a baby, Mike." He taught me so much, not only about work, because he had a good mind for the oil patch, and he loved it. And he would tell me that all the time. He loved what he did. But he also wanted to make sure that myself, my boys, all knew that it was supposed to be family first, always. And I was actually on vacation when I got the news, because he forced me to take vacation because I had been at work too long. And he'd phone me every day while I was at work and tell me, "This is eating my lunch. You've been there too long. You need to go home. Do you want me to talk to your wife?" "No, I'm good." "You need to get home." So I said, "Oh, you know what? I'll finish up this shift. I'll go home for 6 weeks." And I tell you, he's never been happier. It was always about family and not so much about work with Mike. He wanted me to be a dad first, a lead second, and a good human third. Those are all admirable traits, and he was all those things. He was never shy about an apology if he was wrong. So, and he could be, right? He'd rip you a new one, and then he'd phone you back 15 minutes later. He'd say, "Hey man, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to." "Oh yeah, it's okay, Mikey, it happens." But he was never afraid to apologize. He was a man that way. And if I ever thought that he was wrong, I would tell him, "You're wrong." And he'd fight me tooth and nail, and if I could prove he was wrong, he'd smile and shake your hand and say, "Yeah, you're right." Or he would fight you tooth and nail, and you'd figure out he was actually right. And that was the best part about Mike, my friend. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss my daily check-in, my phone call to talk about the donkeys. It's like, yeah. Like, who phones a guy to talk about his donkeys for 4 hours? Mike did. And sometimes we'd say, "Man, we talk on the phone way too much." And every once in a while, Darcy would say, "Yeah, but if you guys were in an office together, you'd talk this much." I like to chat. Mike likes to chat. Jim likes to chat. We went from an oil company when he took over at Wildboy. We went from an oil company to a family. That was important. The boys are taken care of. You're treated like family. That's why he put me where I was. He wanted me to be that guy, that father figure for those guys. That I was also Mike's part-time counselor, part-time friend, part-time worker, right? Like that was our relationship. He'd phone me and he'd tell me something and I'd give him my advice and he'd either tell me to stick it in my ear or he'd take it. That was Mike. The most excited, I think, in the 2 years I worked with him, the most excited I ever had Mike was when we were going camping. And we're doing it as a company. Darcy knows because she was there. And I said, my wife's going to come. And that was the most important thing to him ever because he got to meet my wife. And the first thing he said to me was, you guys can stay in my camper. And I have 8 kids. So the next words were, well, you guys know what he told me the next words after that. He said, you can stay with me, but, well, you know what he said. And he had the best time, and he treated her like an absolute princess that whole time. And I always appreciated him for that. I don't have much else to say. That was it. I didn't prepare anything. I just wanted to say something for Darcy and for you guys and for Mike. So thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing those memories and just for those words of tribute to Mike. As we talked the other day and even today as we hear more about him, there's so many qualities about his life and who he was. You know, we hear about what he did, but I think the things that stand out to me are some of those qualities that made him so special. And, you know, whether it was his priority of family and love for family, the fact that he was a hard worker, that sense of humor that he had. Those are the things that you will remember and that you love about who he was. And those are the things that I'm sure you will miss the most about him as well. I would just encourage you in the days to come to honor who he was and to honor those qualities in his life by living out some of those same qualities in your own life. It's been said that the man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves the world better than he found it, who looked for the best in others and gave the best he had. And when I hear about how you describe Mike, I think that really describes who he was. That was the Mike you knew and loved. And like I said, that's the Mike that you will miss. It's been good to hear about Michael and to see pictures of his life. I'm sure it's stirred up many memories for each one of you. And I do hope that those same memories that bring tears to your eyes today will soon bring smiles to your faces as you remember that the life that Mike shared with you. This time together today really marks the end of Mike's life journey here on earth. But I know that in the days to come, you will continue to remember him, all that he meant to you, and I encourage you to recall those memories and those stories that you have of him, the experiences that you shared with him, and be grateful for his life that was shared with each one of you. May you take the memory that you have of him and just tuck it in a special place in your heart and never let him be forgotten. As soon as we're done here, I just want to encourage you to stay. There's going to be a time of refreshments, and I would encourage you to use that time to connect with each other, to encourage each other, share those stories, especially with family. They want to hear those stories that you have, and just encourage each other in that way. And as we close this time, I've been asked to read a poem from Mike's mom and then a note from Mike's son, Rylan. So first, the poem. To my son, when I lost you, I wish I could see you one more time come walking through my door. But I know that is impossible, as I will hear your voice no more. I know you can feel my tears, and you won't want me to cry. Yet my heart is broken because I cannot understand why someone so precious had to die. I hope I will have the strength to somehow get through as I struggle with the heartache that came when I lost you. I will forever love you, Michael, Mom. And from Rylan, he writes, I don't know what to say. I wanted you to meet my kids when I finally brought them home. I wanted you to see the house I would have bought. I wanted you to see the life I would have made, to make you proud and have you over for Christmas with the family I made, to give you all the nice memories you gave me. I love you, Mike, from the morning we met when you got in the way of my morning cartoons to the day that I die. Thank you for everything you've done, giving me a new brother and sister I would die for, giving me a dog that would become one of my best friends. And thank you for bringing my mom so much joy, for making her smile and helping her when she cried. Don't worry, the whole family will keep looking after her, making her life just as happy as you made it. I hope you're in a better place. Give Dozer and Bean, is it Bean? Am I right? There was a little glitch in the writing there, so I hope I got that right. Give Dozer and Bean a belly rub for me. I assume those are dogs. Okay. Thought if they're friends it might be a little offensive, but you know, there is one more thing I want to thank you for, as I fear death a little less, because when I've lived my life to make you proud like a son should, once I've fulfilled my purpose and passed on my knowledge to your grandchildren, I get to see you again. And I'll help you on your farm then, all right? It won't be soon, but I can't wait to see you again because I really, really miss you like a lot. Again, thank you for everything. I love you so much, Mike. Rest in peace. And that's just such a fitting way to close our service today. And I want to thank each one of you who were part of Mike's life journey and who are able to be here to be part of this service today. And again, I just want to encourage you to stick around, and there will be time for you to share stories with each other. Again, thank each one of you for coming, and for those that tuned in the live stream, thank you for being part of this as well. Thanks.
Hi. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, good, good, good.